Welcome back to the South by East podcast, where we discuss the scriptures, culture, and everything in between. Braille, what do we have today?
Man, this funny video, a comedian that we both enjoy, Mr. Kev On stage. Shout out to him.
On stage.
Blowing up. I love to see it. But he was on this podcast recently with a pastor and podcaster in Atlanta talking about being real about his body, and then also just what he saw in the church growing up, and he made it clear as his experience. So let's jump into it and then just get some thoughts on this.
My big problem with, and this is why I don't hide who I am, this is not the church. This is me, Kevin, my personal experience. I want to be very clear.
Full disclaimer.
Full disclaimer. This is me, Kevin, and my family.
Yes.
And the people I went to church with. This is not an admonishment of the black church overall.
Yes.
My problem was people in my life were not being true. There was a version of them at church, and then there was a version of them at home,
Right.
and a version of them on vacation, a
Yes.
version of them on a cruise. And I remember a pastor telling me, well, I don't drink, for example, I don't drink where saints might see me, but at home I got liquor. Amen. And when I'm on a cruise, brother, ain't nobody know I'm a pastor.
Right.
So is the sin drinking, or is it, well, I don't want to cause nobody to stumble. Well, okay, I get that. There might be an alcoholic out there, but now you're a version of you. You're like a different version depending on where you are. I want you to be mad at me or happy with me for who I really am.
So I told you, I was like, man, I got something I want to say, but I want to wait. I want to wait till we get on the pod. Man, as I watched that video, I stopped and I thought, I'm like, man, why are so many people like this? I think that's a common experience, especially within the church, but I don't think it's just in the church. And as I thought about it, I'm like, man, it's because there is a cost to being your real self. And I started thinking, like, often when I'm by myself, I spend a lot of my time thinking about my friends and things that I've seen and things I've learned about myself, because I'm just weird like that. But that's how I like to spend my time. And I was thinking about you, and I spend a lot of time with you. I observe you a lot, written songs about you, and I was like, man, John, you are radically, honestly you in every space you step into. And I want to say that it's something that I admire, and I think a lot of people do. And when you step into a space, you're Johnathan. And it doesn't mean that you just share everything you think. Doesn't mean you share everything that you want to say. Definitely not that. But there is an honesty about who you are. And you know who you are, what you're doing there, and what you want to accomplish. And I think you get a lot of accolades and praise for that. You also get a lot of blowback, pushback, and attacks for that as well. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, why is that? And as I thought through it, he talks about, I think there's a longer version of this clip where he talks about people wearing a mask and having a mask on. And people not wanting to take that mask off. And as I thought about it, I'm like, man, when you walk into a situation and you're radically you and you got a strong personality, people are faced with one or two choices. I can either shift my mask to be a Johnathan adjacent type person, because you're a catalyzer. Things are going to move, things are going to react. Or I can take my mask off and go, hey, here's who I am. And it differs from that current. And I think people don't want to be honest and real about who they are. And when you come in, your presence causes people to feel uncomfortable with their mask on. And so now I'm mad at you because my mask keeps me comfortable. My mask allows me to blend in. And when something comes into my environment that makes me have to shift, I'm angry at that, and I want to shut that down. And I think I want people to understand there is a cost to being real and stepping into spaces and being who you truly are, because of that eternal image that we have. We're made in the image of God, and God is creative. We're being transformed into the image of his son, and his son was a disruptor. in a world that is wrong, as we live out the true image of who God has called us to be, we will always be disrupting something. We will always be, we will never just blend in. And I think that's part of the reason, like, especially in the church, why it is hard for people to be real. Because if I'm really myself, not only might I cause waves in the environment, but there also might be someone in the environment that points out some things that need to shift in me. I'm not willing to deal with that. I'm not willing to deal with that.
That's good. So, you know, I like Kev On Stage. I follow him. I also listen to his podcast. And so here's was where these two interact and intersect. Is that him and Angel were talking about him doing this interview. Right? But it intersected with them just talking about both of them comedians, period. And he was talking about this whole experience. And here's what stood out. There's a difference between being honest and true to yourself and being mature.
Get into that. Get into that.
So because he'll tell you, all right, I remember Kev On Stage before he was Kev On Stage. Well, he had a group that he did these skits with, and that was our first interview.
I remember that group
and
too.
I was the first time one of my boys showed me. We were at a church planning conference. Two church planners. And we were in this hotel room. I was like, they're gonna kick us out of this hotel room. We were laughing so hard. Man, we were like, I like, the next day I had no voice. And so we're laughing. And he started out just doing shows in the church. And, you know, because he was a youth pastor and different things of that nature. And I remember when the shift happened, I was like, oh.
When he started like crossing over.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, and I remember him talking about going, like, talking with his therapist about it. And it was like, he was like, man, I want to do this joke, but I don't know, like, what that's going to mean, different things. And, like, he had to spend some time in therapy to even prepare for the changeover. But he'll talk about even today with where he's at and all the platforms. He's had his own app, and he has studios. He done sold 2 shows to BT now. And he was saying, but there's still some, because he does different tours. He does tours still now where the venues are churches, and then he does tours that are secular venues. And he's like, hey, it was like, I just listened to this on my last road trip where I was on for business. He was saying, there's some jokes that I can tell when I do my tours at church venues. And everybody gets it. They get the context. They get what it's in. And then there's some jokes that I do at my secular venues that I can't do
at the church.
At the church. And then he's like, there's some jokes that I do at the church that I can't do at the secular because everybody in there is not a believer and they don't get it in the context. And me and you kind of talked about this, and there's a comedian by the name of Drewski. And
Drewski.
And this came up in one, I don't know if it was the same episode, but one of the deals of Drewski's bit is nothing is off limits.
Yeah, Drewski,
like he goes,
he a little wild.
The deal is he does impeccable research on a topic. Impeccable research on a topic.
I'm laughing because of one of the videos we share with each other.
But man, it's even beyond that. Like, man, he does impeccable research on a topic, and then he'll do a skit, and you like everything in you is like, this is all cringeworthy. Every single bit of this. How in this day and age that we live in, like the social media rage era, where everything cancel culture, how is he getting away with these skits? Like that's like the first thought that goes to your mind when you watch any Drewski skit is, how is he not canceled already? Because anybody else would have been canceled. But But here's this is how this came up. Is because they were saying like there was this other comedian who was like that, and he got an opportunity, I think, to host the ESPYs or something like that. And so, and he took like that. Oh, nothing is off limits. Everything can be made fun of to host the ESPYs, and everybody was like, oh, and they were like, bruh. It ain't just you can't be you. It's just that you also got to understand the context.
Yeah.
And so that's like, I want to be my authentic self. You know how big authenticity is, and like you said, my backside bears the scars of that. And like we'll have conversations, and even as a team, we'll have conversations. And I was like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is where I'm at, raw.
Right.
And I want us to always be true and authentic, and we can't communicate it like this.
Right.
We still got to culture the message for the context, and because our goal is not to just be heard, it's to be received.
Yes.
And it's not a people-pleasing thing, but it's the goal of communication is not to just one way direct something. And if you want to just tag it with I'm being real, you can always get away with that. But the goal of communicating is for there to be a dialogue. Yeah. And you want your message to be received. And for me, I want to try to cut some things away that may block someone from receiving the message, the intended message.
Yes.
And so that's always one of those deals that is it's hard. It's a balance, and you work on it. And I can't tell you that I'm always good at it. I try. I'll be honest. One of the things here that just came out, the One Big Beautiful Bill.
Yeah.
Here's the deal that I know is that there's some people that I have a relationship with that support both organizations that are both for and against the One Big Beautiful Bill. And so I was asked, I was like, well, how would you speak into the loss that people are feeling while not? How would you speak into this? And I actually sat down with somebody. I was like, this is what I would communicate. I was like, every arena you place yourself in has competing values.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talk about that a lot.
Mm-hmm. And the essence of healthy communities is you cannot villainize those who value one value higher than the other.
Right.
Healthy communities try to seek to understand why that value is so high for that person holding a different perspective than me. Mm-hmm. And in this case, I said, what you have is you have a sector that fiscal responsibility is really, really high. Mm-hmm. And then you have a sector that social health is really, really high.
That's a good way to put that.
And so you have these two competing values, because in order to totally feed into the group that social health is the highest value, you have to hold fiscal responsibility with an open hand. Mm-hmm. And to totally understand and go with the group that holds fiscal responsibility as the highest value, you have to hold social health with the hand. Mm-hmm. And I say what this does is it encourages creativity and innovation. Mm. And that has always been the call for every environment we sit in. Mm. And it's only capable when we don't see those with a different perspective as the enemy, but we see them as someone to collaborate with for a solution that has not yet been identified.
Right.
And I said, that's the same case that we're in with this one big beautiful bill is we're in a situation where those whom collectively as a country we have placed into positions of leadership. Your vote does matter. One person equals one vote. And collectively we get to make some decisions.
Right.
And collectively we have to live under the decisions of the collective.
That we have made, yes.
And in this case, the group that we have placed in the power, no matter how we voted, has said that the ruling perspective is going to be fiscal responsibility. What that leaves us with is us as a collective to be innovative on how we now provide the resources that still allow us to nurture the value of social health.
Yeah. Man, I think that's good, man. And as you talk about that, I feel like it comes back to this other piece too of what's behind your mask. So when we talk about handling conflict in loving relationships, one of the things we say is you have to check your own heart before you know you're ready to have a hard conversation.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like that piece about the mask, like, well, if I got to take off this mask, I don't know if I'm ready to face what's behind that. Part of being radically honest, part of being able to hold values that may not be your highest with an open hand is first checking your own heart and going, why do I hold this value so highly? What biases might be in my way? And for the solution I'm trying to come to or the problem that I'm trying to solve, where is an area where I can accept responsibility where I've been a part of it? If we as a collective are trying to solve collective issues, they're not an issue for one group of people, they're an issue for the collective.
Yes.
And if it is a collective problem that we have, then it also has to be a collective solution that we produce and that we implement. Therefore, part of the problem is still me. And so I have to go, okay, it may not be totally my fault. It may be 90-10, but I have to be able to say, okay, here is where I can be a part of this solution. And until you're ready to say that, we're filibustering and we're not really having conversation.
Can I take one step back on that?
Yeah.
You can't get to that position until you identify yourself with the group. You can't even get to like I'm a part of the problem until I identify, because as long as
there has to be a relationship there.
As long as you're othering, you cannot work toward that.
You're right.
And so it's like you first have to say, I'm in. I'm in, I'm a part of this. Good or bad, I'm a part of this. This is who we are.
This is us.
This is us.
Yeah.
And then you can say, okay, since this is us, what part do I play in it? And that's the, man, look, I can tell you I've never been able to work on a good solution when I have othered.
Yeah.
You just, like, look, because what you come out with is what everyone else needs to do.
Yeah.
And you're not willing to say, hey, here's well, I had a conversation earlier today even where I just sat with somebody and I said, okay, I want to review a list of things and list of situations, and I want to walk through all these. And I'm like, I've been walking through and I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, what did I contribute to each of these things? What happened here? What happened there? What could I have done different? I'm like, this is what I thought. This is what my intention was with that, but how does that do different? And how does that look different? And could I have done this different? And where are we at? And where the focus needs to be? And It's always looking at those pieces. And I think that's the first part of it. And I'm gonna tell you, the first place you start is not there normally. Like the normal person doesn't start there. The normal person starts off with, I'm mad.
Yeah,
And
that's
here's
how I
why I'm
feel.
mad.
Yeah.
And this is what everybody else did in this situation that they could have done better. But here's the deal, and that is natural. And maturity works you to, yeah.
I played a part.
And here's what could have looked different.
Yeah.
Here's how this could have worked differently. And
And
so
that helps you know before we get to an us solution, because I played a part and I have the most control over what happens here, here's what I'm going to do differently moving forward. Before we get to what you can do, what we can do, here's what I'm going to do differently moving forward. And to wrap this back around, I want people to understand, if you do all that work and you start moving in that way, it does not mean that the people around you will respond in kind.
no.
No. And you may be like, hey, here's what I've done. Here's what I'm going to do moving forward. And if other people are not in that space, they will see it as an offense.
It's you get one of those, okay.
Okay, yeah.
You're like,
It'll be an offense. Because if they're not in that space, no, even if you are going, here's where I'm at, they'll still see it as an attack on them. Like, are they saying I'm supposed to be in that place? Well, why should I be in that place? Because they haven't gotten there yet.
and the deal is then that's another step of maturity, because often, man, when you've made that step, you expect this reciprocation. and then what you do is, when you don't get that reciprocation, you get angry again,
Yep,
and then
you
you
gotta start all
follow
over.
yourself. Yeah, you got to go all the way back, and then you like, hey, did I do this for them or did I do it for me?
Did I do it? It was the right thing to do.
And did I do this because it was the right thing to do? And if so, their response doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's the deal.
Or their response, it matters, but it doesn't dictate how I continue.
Yes, that's what I meant. That's exactly what I meant. And so it's one of those deals where it's saying, what does integrity look like for you and for your life? And that being a goal, and trying to lead with integrity, trying to live with integrity, and love people well, and yeah.
But we want to hear, what do y'all think? What do y'all think of the conversation? Also, feel free to check out some Kev On Stage. It is so worth it. You'll find that link in the show notes where you can at least see that excerpt from that podcast. Follow that to check out some more of his stuff. And man, continue to like, comment, subscribe, and follow your boys as we talk about how things relate to the culture, scriptures, and everything in between here in Southeast Topeka. We'll see you next week in the
In the intersection.